Good morning all. So today we are going to start with the unit number 2, that is arrays and pointers. So in today's lecture I am going to complete the simple concept that is required for our practical session. So in today's lecture I am going to cover the function overloading, and then I am going to cover constructor overloading. And if time permits, I am going to complete operator overloading. So function overloading, or simply overloading. C++ allows you to specify more than one definition for a function name or an operator in the same scope, which is called as function overloading and operator overloading respectively. So what is the basic concept of overloading is, one thing is used for many purposes, it is called as overloading. So one function name can be used for many functions, it is called as function overloading. And one operator is used for different operations, is called as operator overloading. Just a minute. Function overloading is a feature in C++ where two or more functions can have the same name but different parameters. What is function overloading is, in your code you will have a particular function name for different functions, it is called as function overloading. For example, you are having the function void add, and this add function name is available for more than two functions. This is called as function overloading. This is called as function overloading. Means what? In your code you will have a function name for different functions. This add function name is for one function. This is the same function name add is for another function, and this add function is for third function. It is called as function overloading. So this is the example of polymorphism. With the help of function overloading, we can achieve polymorphism. So what is meant by polymorphism? One thing is used for many purposes is called as polymorphism. So similar concept is used in the function overloading. One function name is used for many purposes, it is called as function overloading, and with the help of this we are achieving polymorphism object-oriented feature in C++. We have seen polymorphism is one type of object-oriented feature. To achieve this feature we need function overloading. So this is how we are going to achieve polymorphism. With function overloading, multiple functions can have the same name with different parameters. Now just again function overloading in another word. Multiple functions have the same name. These are the functions add, these are the three functions, and having the same name but different parameters are there. Here it is, we have to add another parameter over here, and we have to add another different parameter over here to work all the three functions in the code. An overloaded declaration. What is overloaded declaration? is a declaration that is declared with the same name as previously declaration in the same scope, except that both declarations have different arguments and obviously different definition. That is implementation. Each addition function is used for different implementation, but this addition function will have different arguments as well as same function name, that is add. When you call an overloaded function or operator, the compiler determines the most appropriate definition to use. When you call a particular function, overloaded function, compiler will look at the number of parameters and it will determine appropriate function definition to invoke. By comparing the different argument types you have used to call the function or operator with the parameter type specified in the definition. So the compiler is going to compare the different arguments types that you used in the function call, and then based on that function will be called. You will get clear idea when I demonstrate this. I am going to demonstrate everything. You will understand what is function overloading. The process of selecting the most appropriate overloaded function or operator is called as overload resolution. So the process of selecting the most appropriate overloaded function or operator is called as overload resolution. So types of overloading in C++. What are the different types of overloading in C++? Already I have mentioned. Still I am going to focus it on so that you will get the clear idea about types of overloading in C++. So first is overloading. First type is function overloading. Again, I am repeating the same concepts. In function overloading, you will have same function name for different functions, but they differ in number of arguments present in that function. That is called as function overloading. Next is operator overloading. In operator overloading, we are going to overload the operator. That is called as operator overloading. What it means is that suppose, for example, plus operator is used to do the addition of two numbers, or we can use plus operator to do concatenation of the two strings. The same operator is used for different purposes. One function of plus operator is addition of two integer numbers, and next function is concatenation of the two strings. It is called as operator overloading. One operator is used for different purposes is called as operator overloading. Then function overloading, again in the same concept in different words. I am going to explain so that you will remember. Function overloading is defined as a process of having two or more functions with the same name. Keep in mind, these functions are having the same name, but different in parameters. Is known as function overloading in C++. So function overloading. So I am continuing. Function overloading is defined as the process of having two or more functions. Keep in mind, you will have the two or more functions. Next is with the same name, but different in parameters. different in parameters. It is known as function overloading. It is known as function overloading. In function overloading, the function is redefined by using either different types of arguments or different number of arguments. So function is defined by different types of arguments or different number of arguments. This is the way to differentiate between different functions, so that compiler will get the idea to which function to be invoked. It is only through this different compiler can differentiate between the functions. This is the only way the compiler will differentiate between the functions. What is the advantage of function overloading? The advantage of function overloading is that it increases the readability of the program. Because you don't need to use different names for the same action. Okay, suppose you want to do the addition of 2 numbers, addition of 3 numbers, addition of 4 numbers, make the one add function and just differentiate it by a number of arguments and implement the logic of that particular function. But your program is more readable. By looking at the function name, the program reader will come to know that there is add function used for addition, and these are the different functions used for addition of 2 numbers, 3 numbers, and 4 numbers respectively. So this is the advantage of function overloading. Now I am going to demonstrate what is the function overloading. So is this code visible? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the simple program which demonstrate the function overloading. This is my function void add. Okay, name of the function is add, and what I did in this code, I have just mentioned inside add method. I've just mentioned only one statement inside the add method. Next is another function void add. Just remember, this is the add function, and here it is add function having the same name, and here it is this function will receive one argument, integer a, whereas this function doesn't receive any argument, but this function will receive argument. So in this function, what I did here, I have written one statement inside add method, and then I have mentioned value of a is equal to a. So it will print the received value of a. Next, this is my another function. Remember, the name of the function is same as that of the previous two, that is add. But here it will receive the one argument of type float, whereas it will receive the argument type integer. So I mentioned only one statement over here. Inside add method, value of b is equal to b. So just whatever value I have received, I am going to print it inside this function. So how to call these functions? So just you have to mention add, which will call this function, and then call this add, with one integer argument. This function will call this function, and this function call add 200.00f, that is nothing but the float, will call this function void add float b. So just see the output of the program. So this is the output of the program. First of all, it will print inside add method. Then it will print inside add method value of a is equal to 100. Then it will print inside add method value of b is equal to 200. And then it will print a simple statement which is present in the main, that is hello world. So this is the output of the program, and this is called as function overloading. This is called as function overloading. So again, I am repeating this code. In this code, you will have three functions: add. The name of the functions are same. This is the functionality of the function overloading. And this first function will receive 0 arguments. This second function will receive 1 argument of type integer, and this third function will be receiving argument of type float. So when you call the function, how compiler will come to know that which method to be invoked? Simply, compiler will look for the name of the function, and then it will look for the number of arguments. And if that matches, then that particular function will be called. Now I am going to make the changes over here. Now I am calling only add method. So can anyone tell which method will be invoked or what will be the output of the code? Simply I have called add method. Yes, anyone?
Inside add method.
Yes. So it will call this method void add, and it will print inside add method. So I'm going to execute it. So I will get the output as inside add method. This is the correct answer, and it will print one statement which is present in the main, that is hello world. Now I'm going to call this method add with this way. So which method will be called? Anyone?
Integer.
Okay, you mean this method will be called, and output of this is what? Inside add method, and value of a is equal to 1, 2, 3. Just see the output. Sorry. You will get this output. Inside add method of a is equal to, inside add method, and value of a is equal to 1, 2, 3. And you have to, this is one statement present in the main, that is hello world. Now tell me, anyone, I want to call this method. So what should I write here? Yes, anyone, just tell me, I want to call this function. What should I write here? Yes.
Give floating value as an argument.
Suppose, tell me floating value. Any value.
12.3.
12.3. So I'm going to save the program and just I'm going to compile the code. So here it is, the one error. Why it is so? Anybody?
Write F.
Yes. Why we need to write F? Before that, just see the error message. I will read the error message. What is the error? Call of overloaded add double is ambiguous. This is the error message. That means this value is treated as double value. And there is no function which will have receiving argument as a double. So it simply gives the error message, call of overloaded add double is ambiguous. Ambiguous means I am in bit confused. There is no such method to be called. This is the error message given by the compiler. So keep in mind, whenever you pass the value like 12.3, it is treated as a double. So to make this value as a float, you have to mention the f. When you say f, this value will be treated as a floating value. Just save and again compile. Now you will get the 0 errors and 0 warnings. And now tell me what will be the output? Output will be this function. So just see the output. So inside add method, value of b is equal to 12.3. So this is the output of the code. Now suppose I am going to call this method 10, 20. 10, 20. Now tell me what will be the output of the code? Anyone? Yes? What will be the output of the code? When I call this add method 10, 20.
It will produce error.
Okay, fine. It will produce error. Can you tell me why it will produce the error?
Because in main function, in add function, we have passed two argument, but we have not written any add function with two arguments.
Fine, correct. This is the correct answer. So there is no function that we have declared of having two arguments and you are calling this method. In this case, compiler get confused and so it will throw the error message. I'm just going to compile this code. Here it is. This red means at this line there is error. So I will just read the message, error message. No matching function for call to add integer, integer. What this error message tells us, there is no matching function for the call to add integer, integer. Means there is no function written in your code having name add and having two arguments. So this error message simply tells us what is missing. If you read the error message carefully, you can easily remove the errors. and it is one of the skill of programmer. Read the error message clear, understand this error message, and then according once you understood the error message, you can easily remove the errors. So this is one of the skill of the programmer. In your was simply a coder. So this is the correct way to call the function. So this is all about the function overloading. I am going to continue next point. Next is constructor overloading. Now you have understood what is meant by overloading, and you can easily understand what is constructor overloading. A constructor is a special type of member function that you have already learned, and that is called automatically when the object is created. It is a special function because name of the function is same as that of your class name, and it doesn't have any return type, and it is invoked when you create the object. In C++, we can have more than one constructor in a class with the same name as long as each has a different list of arguments. Each has a different list of arguments. This concept is known as constructor overloading. This concept is known as constructor overloading, and it is similar to function overloading. Now you can understand easily what is meant by constructor overloading. Different constructors are used for different purposes. By default, name of the constructor is the class name, and there are different names having the same function name, that is constructor names, and it becomes constructor overloading. Overloaded constructors easily have the same name, that is name of the class, and different number of arguments. Overloaded constructors essentially have the same name, okay, and different number of arguments. That becomes overloading. It is called as overloading. A constructor is called depending upon the number and the type of arguments passed. Now you can understand the meaning of this statement. The compiler will understand which constructor to be invoked by looking at the number and type of the arguments. While creating the object, argument must be passed to let compiler know which constructor need to be called. Okay, so these arguments will help compiler to which constructor to be invoked. So this simple concept I am going to demonstrate with the help of the code. So is this code visible?
Sir.
Okay. So what is the code? Here it is. We have declared one class. Name of the class is student, wherein we will have one private member as a string name, and inside public we have written the constructor. So this is our default constructor. Okay, we have learned this. This is our default constructor. This constructor does not have any, doesn't receive any arguments. That is our default constructor. And this is our parameterized constructor, which will receive one parameter over here, that is string n. So in our code we have two constructors. This is our first constructor, and this is our second constructor. One constructor is default and another constructor is parameterized constructor. Both the concepts we have learned and both the concepts we have implemented also. So in this print name, it will print the name, and here it is end of the class student. So in main, here it is print. I have created the object student A in student B. Now tell me, when I call student, when I write student A, I will give name over here, Sachin. So when I write this statement, which constructor to be invoked or will be invoked? Anyone? Yes. When I write student A and then I passed name of the student Sachin. So from these two constructors, which constructor will be invoked? First, yes, because this is the parameterized constructor, and compiler will come to know that by looking at this statement, you are passing one parameter to the constructor, and here it is. Already one constructor is defined which receives one parameter. So simply Sachin is initialized to string n, and which is again initialized to the name in the constructor. Whereas when you say simply student B, which constructor will be invoked?
Default.
Sorry?
Default.
Default, yes. So this constructor will be invoked. Student, and it doesn't receive any, but your name is initialized to unknown. And then to check, I have printed one, written one statement, print name, and I have called it by using the two objects A and B. Now I'm going to execute the code, just see the output. Here it is, output is Sachin that I have given for the object A, and for object B the name is unknown because we have not passed the name of a particular person. So this is the output of the code, and now you can understand this is called as constructor overloading. This is called as constructor overloading. Keep in mind, overloading means what? One thing is used for different purposes. Here it is, this constructor is used to define unknown value, whereas this constructor is initialize this value to past value, which is present in this as an argument. So constructor is used for two purposes. This is the default constructor and this is our parameterized constructor. So already we have covered this. We have a program, and this concept is called as constructor overloading. This concept is called as constructor overloading. Now I will make the changes in this code. Suppose I have passed, here it is 100, student A 100. Tell me what will be the output of the code. Anyone? Yes? What will be the output of the code?
Error.
Error. Why? Why do you think it will have error?
Integer is passed.
Yes, this is the correct answer. You have passed integer value, and here it is which we constructor will receive the string value. I'm just going to compile it, and simply there is error. This red indicates at this line there is error, and I'm going to read the error. Error is what? Invalid conversion from integer to constant character, and initializing argument of this is the header file error message. Okay, so it will not convert integer to constant character string, so it will face the error. But if I put this into a double quote, this number becomes string and it will be compiled successfully. Just see, there are 0 errors and 0 1. So this number present in double quote and without quote has different meaning, and just see the output. You will get the output as 100 and none. Though it is number, it is considered as a string because you have passed it is in double quote. Compiler will understand it is an string. It will initialize to this n variable, and then it is initialized to the name in the constructor. This is called as constructor overloading. Suppose I pass like this. I have given the name as Sachin and I'm going to pass 10. So now tell me, what will be the output of the code? Anyone? Yes, anyone?
Error.
Error. Why? What is the reason? Because there is no constructor which will receive two parameters. That's why you will get the error message. No matching function for call to student and student. There is no matching function which will match, which will receive two parameters. First is string and next one is integer. That's why this is the error. So save it, compile and execute. You will get this output, Sachin and unknown. And this is called as simply the constructor overloading. You can have n number of constructor with different in function arguments.